Good morning, guys. Happy Tuesday. So, when we get into prepping, sometimes it's not all about stuff, gear, food, skills. Sometimes it's just about knowledge. And in the world that we currently live in, there's one piece of knowledge that I think is critically important to us. And that's what the laws are in your state. Now, I know a lot of you guys are going to say, gee, if everything keeps getting worse, we're going to be in a WROL, for you newbies, without rule of law situation. Yeah, that's very possible. But once civilization comes back, the laws will come back too. And you're still responsible for whatever you did, even in any sort of chaotic situation. Okay. So, not only does this affect you as a prepper, but in the prelude to any sort of SHTF event as well. We've talked about many times, the crime rates. I mean, hell, you had the story in New York of some mother who was found in a duffel bag over the weekend, or people getting stabbed on the subway, or, we could pick a shooting in Chicago, just pick a day. Pick any state, and I mean, crime is going up. I mean, people are getting mugged in the grocery store parking lots, whatever. But do you know the laws of your state and how you are allowed to defend yourself? Okay. Some states are castle doctrine. Some states are stand your ground states. Some states are duty to retreat states. Okay. I mean, each one of them is different, and the scenarios can be different, and the laws change. And it's not up to the government to tell you what the law is. It's up to you to figure out what it is. In doing my research to put this video together, I found that the states that were affected have changed their laws from 2018 to 19 to 20 to 21 to 22. Every year it's different, okay? And I'll show you that in just a second so you can kind of do some research on your own. Now, I am going to prelude all of this real quick, the typical disclaimer. I am not a lawyer. I don't play one on YouTube. I don't pretend to be one or anything like that. I am just a concerned citizen, a prepper, and a gun owner, all right? So it is my responsibility to know the gun rights and gun laws for me. It is your responsibility to know them for you, okay? To do your own research, to go look it up, to maybe have a conversation with an attorney or something like that so you know, okay? Do not just take what some guy on YouTube tells you. Go out and find out for yourself, because I will tell you this, if something goes wrong, standing up in court and said, well, pinball says, ain't going to go anywhere. So just telling you. All right. So you get into a situation and pick one. You're in the grocery store or in the grocery store parking lot. Either one could be different. And somebody comes up to you. Okay. Some states, there's a complete different set of rules that apply if you're in the grocery store or if you're in the grocery store parking lot. You're in your house, it's the middle of the night, and somebody breaks into your house. What do you do? Okay. What are you legally allowed to do? Now, I'll give you this. There is what's called a progression of reasonable fear. And cops are trained in this. Okay. Military, not so much, but we did a little bit. Okay. Your typical cop will do all 6 steps in the progression in under a second. Okay. And I'll give you what this is. The perception of the threat, figuring out, okay, there's a guy with a gun. The awareness of his own or her own vulnerability. Gee, I'm standing out in the middle of the street, nothing there. Okay. Where am I? What can I do? A decision to take action. Going into survival mode, your decide to response, and your response. Okay. A cop is trained to do that in under a second. You are not. All right. So this is going to take you a little bit longer. You're going to perceive the threat. You're going to go, crap, I'm standing here in my underwear, making a peanut butter sandwich. What am I going to do? I need to dive behind the kitchen counters. Now what am I going to do? Okay, I'm going to run for my gun or whatever. So you can see this is going to take a little bit longer for you. So, I'll start here. In a duty to retreat state, okay, and I want to show you a quick graphic here real quick, I guess, if you will. And this is 2022. This is the most recent I can find, all right? The dark blue states on this are duty to retreat states. Now, what is duty to retreat? I'm going to come back to this again. So, what is duty to retreat? In duty to retreat, you are not legally allowed to use deadly force to defend yourself, okay? If the jury concludes that you could have safely avoided the risk of death or serious bodily injury, and you did something, you could be charged with manslaughter. Okay, so let's go back to this graphic here, all right? The green states are the next level. Those are castle doctrine. Now, castle doctrine is different depending on the state. Some states say it is just your house. Some states say it is your house and your vehicle. Some states say it is your house, your vehicle, and your place of employment. Some states even add house, vehicle, place of employment, and your property. So again, this is one thing to look at in regards to what the current laws are in your state. All right, but what does castle doctrine mean? Castle doctrine is not a law, okay? I want to give you that first off. It's just an acceptable standard. But it says, like I said earlier, somebody's house, their place of employment or whatever, if you have to use deadly force, you are allowed to, and you are immune from prosecution. Okay. If somebody breaks into your house in the middle of the night and you go downstairs and shoot them, most of the time you are going to be fine. And there's going to be a caveat to that I'm going to get to as well. All right. So then finally, what you have are the stand your ground states. Again, let's go back to the video or the graphic here. And these obviously are all moving on up. Any stand your ground state is also going to have castle doctrine because it's less restrictive. All the powder blue states are stand your ground states, which means you do not anywhere have to back down, okay? You are legally allowed to use force anywhere there is a threat of harm, okay? Now, you're still going to have to be able to prove that you're being, that there was a risk to personal injury, all right? I'm just saying this, and I'll give you an example. In the middle of the night, you hear somebody break a window in your house, okay? You get out of bed, put on your sweatpants, do whatever you do, or who knows. You grab your gun, you go downstairs outside your bedroom and carefully start inspecting the house, right? I mean, we've all done this drill before. You don't know what you're walking into. Is there 6 guys down in the living room? Is there 1 guy down the living room? Okay. For the sake of argument, let's just say there's 1 guy. If you come down the stairs and look over in the kitchen and he's leaned over the kitchen counter making a peanut butter and jelly sandwich with his back to you and you shoot him, it doesn't matter that this is a stand your ground state. It doesn't matter this is a castle doctrine state, okay? There was no threat to your life, okay? Unless he's going to throw a peanut butter sandwich to you and you've got a lawyer that can prove that a peanut butter sandwich is a deadly weapon, there's no threat to your life. Once he turns around, that's a different story, okay? This goes right back into any training. Never shoot somebody in the back. Simple as that, okay? because all they're going to do is use that as he was trying to get away. He posed no threat, and you will lose. If he turns around, now he has there is a attempted threat to your life. Now he could feasibly come towards you. Again, I'm not a lawyer. Check this out with a lawyer. Okay. If you come downstairs and he is back to you, tell him to freeze. Tell him to get down on his knees with, just like you see in a movie. Get down on your knees, put your hands on your head, or put your hands behind your back. Lay down on your chest. If he's complying, you have no reason. If he turns around and has his knife in his hand, now you're fine. Okay. Zip ties. Zip tie his hands shut. You all should know how to make 3 zip tie handcuffs, one around each wrist, and then one more loop of zip ties in between the two so he can't get his hands apart. All right. So you should know how to do that. Do the same thing with his legs. All right. When you want him face down, you want a knee in between his shoulder blades. You do not want him to be able to get up, especially if you're a woman and a guy like me comes by. All right. Yes, I'm going to be able, at my size, be able to take you down. You have a knee, and I don't care if you're a 120-pound woman and 120 pounds in between my shoulder blades, I'm going nowhere. All right. So this is something that's very important to look at. What I would also suggest is look at some sort of concealed carry insurance. All right. I use CCW Safe. I'm not sponsored. I'm not recommending them. I'm not recommending them, not recommending. I'm just telling you what I use. There's the NRA's got one. There's numerous ones. Find out which one works for yourself. What's important is that you know the law. That is it. Because when the situation arises, the last thing you want to do is have to go, can I do this? Or am I going to get in trouble? No, you want to be, like I said at the beginning, with the cop in 1 second where you go, this is what I'm allowed to do. Boom, boom, boom. Done. Like I said, prepping is more than buying stuff and learning new skills. Sometimes it's just a little bit of knowledge. Have a good Tuesday. Pinball out.